Hi everyone. I am here to introduce our next talk and our next two speakers. As a Love Island fan myself, I'm very excited to hear the next 30 minutes of conversation that we have lined up for you. So in brief, in 2022, Love Island made headlines when it announced a new partnership deal with eBay, charting a new fashion direction for the huge reality TV hit. Today we have Lara Worthington, Head of Creative Partnerships at ITV, and Susie Braun, Director of Social Purpose at ITV, here to talk about the work that went into this second-hand success story. We'll begin with a brief intro to the show, and then Lara's going to take us through a number of different parts and to talk through the immersive approach they took to the partnership, both through the show's content, but also the messaging around it. And then we'll finish with a discussion on how they measured the show's impact and a bit more broadly around the climate content pledge within ITV. There will be time for Q&A at the end. And again, we encourage all of those online to participate. This is our first sort of hybrid speaking slot, so bear with us. But yeah, we're very excited to welcome them both here today.
Hi, everyone. Susie, are you sharing the slides?
I am, bear with me, hello. And apologies for not being there in person. I've been struck by the COVIDs.
Amazing, so thank you all for having me. Basically, yes, as it was said, we had an amazing opportunity a couple of years ago where we as ITV had been working with some brands previously that were in the fast fashion industry, but eBay approached us with an opportunity of wanting to get to that hard to reach audience of the Gen Zs and millennials and kind of and break through and in a culturally relevant way to kind of change the perception of the brand of eBay and make it kind of, and also change the general perception that maybe the younger generations had of pre-loved. So we worked with quite a few brands this series, which I was in charge of everyone kind of on the ground, from Google Pixel to who else did we have? Boots, and we also had O2, and then eBay came on board brilliantly as our fashion partner for the first series of 2022. And then it was such a brilliant success that we have just had them on as our headline sponsor, taking over from Just Eat as our headline sponsor for this series of Love Island. So we've just pulled together a quick reel to give you a bit of a flavour of what we got up to this summer.
eBay, sponsors of Love Island.
Oh, bro, our clothes are here.
If there's anything purple in there, hold it, please.
Not really taking my clothes.
Thanks. Cheers, my dears.
Cheers, my dear.
Can you train up the other one? It's the
I'll do my best.
thing.
How you doing, sweetheart?
Are you ready?
Yeah, go on.
1, 2, 3.
You're not good at
It
this.
is so hard.
I'm not gonna lie, this is hot work. I feel like we should get these off. I need a drink.
You know what? I'll second that.
I'm so glad it's a denim party as well because denim's my favourite thing to wear.
Really? It's a denim party. It's a denim party.
It's party time tonight. It's party time tonight.
I don't think I've ever felt this strongly about someone in such a short amount of time.
I feel very, very privileged
to be sitting on a table opposite you.
Ah.
It is you. I want to be exclusive with you. I love you.
I love you too. Oh my goodness.
Will you be my girlfriend?
Oh, of course I will.
Amazing. So yeah, that was just a little flavor of all some of the bits that I can talk through of what we actually did within the show and then also around the show to amplify them and make sure that we kind of really made the most of all the different touch points and the huge ecosystem surrounding Love Island. So the next thing is just obviously to give you a deep dive into the partnership. So as you saw from the slide before and this slide, we had one of the main hurdles that we had when we kind of took on this partnership and we were discussing how to bring it to life, was how do we get the viewer to understand that islanders are wearing items of eBay, of clothes bought from eBay, even though the clothes won't be branded and they'll have different designers and high street retailers, and they won't have any kind of eBay branding on them. So we looked to solve this in a number of ways, which I can chat through. And it was just to solve them. And the first thing was, if you go back a slide, it was on these pre-loved wardrobes. So one slide back further, please. And this basically, We Heart Pre-Loved was the eBay's campaign line, very iconic. It was everywhere and we just absolutely loved it. So we got a pre-loved wardrobe put in the villa, and there was one for the girls and one for the boys, so they didn't feel the left out. And this basically, within this wardrobe, all of the clothes were sourced from eBay, and we constantly were restocking them and kind of washing them and putting them back in to encourage islanders to kind of share and rewear them. Next slide, please. And this is the boys' wardrobe. Yeah, a little bit smaller because they didn't have as many clothes and shoes, but definitely still had lots of choice to choose from. Next slide, please. And then another thing that we came up with was our fantastic eBay hangers. So we created these bespoke hangers for the pre-loved items that went into the villa. It just made sure that they were easy to spot and so that people could tell that they were eBay. This was a particular breakthrough, I would say, because it allowed the eBay logo itself to appear in the villa, which was also abiding to the strict Ofcom product placement regulations. Next slide, please. And then the final couple of bits that we had in the villa were this eBay trainer authentication tag, which basically says that someone from eBay has authenticated that the trainers are Nike or Reebok, and that and the tag gets added onto them. We had trainers with these tags in the villa. And we also, this series, added this relist drawer, which basically encouraged islanders to put anything in that they needed washing, but that they wanted back, so that we could just get it washed and put back in the wardrobe so that it could be reworn. And that could obviously continue to push the eBay message of sharing clothes and rewearing clothes that are pre-loved. Next slide, please. Yeah, and then we also had another thing that we needed to think about, and that was how do we kind of showcase the eBay clothes in a fun, exciting way? So what we did was we pre-agreed on some tentpole moments that eBay could focus on sourcing clothes for, and then they would dress that evening. So for example, as you can see here, this was one of the special fun parties that they had in the villa, and we had it denim themed. So that was obviously a really on-trend theme, fashion theme at the time. And eBay basically took this and they ran with it. It was brilliant. So they sourced lots of pre-loved clothes from eBay, but not only did they do that, they also altered some of these clothes and added some bespoke details so that they were more unique. And they also made some specific bits for islanders so that they really suited their style. Next slide, please. So along these tentpole moments, there were a lot of other bits, and we just made sure that they were really, gave eBay a really pivotal role, because we focused around the key format points in the show. So these were the dates when they went out and were having a really loved up couple moment, or the movie night where there's lots of drama, or the summer ball, and then obviously the final, which is obviously a huge event. So eBay was really, really involved and dressed all of these big special occasions. Also for these moments, we also took professional photographs, just so that eBay had some really high quality imagery of the outfit, so that they could use those images on their platforms to showcase what the islanders are wearing, how amazing they look, and the fact that these were all sourced from eBay. Next slide, please. So this also, there's a couple of examples of some of the idents, and the idents basically were brilliant for just driving brand association with the show. So not only did some of them feature some ex-islanders, like Jordan's example you'll see in a minute, but they also featured items that then made it into the shared wardrobe. So you could really draw that synergy of clothes you saw in the idents actually being in the wardrobe. And this just meant that the idents were a very seamless extension of the show. So if you play this, this is one of the idents, please.
Packed full of pre-loved. eBay, sponsors of Love Island.
And then I think there's another ident to come.
Packed full of pre-loved. eBay, sponsors of Love Island.
Perfect. And then another huge asset to us was Amy Bannerman. So she was pretty much the face of eBay's campaign and the main eBay Love Island stylist. So she'd recently been made eBay's in-house pre-love style director and had styled lots of celebrities in the past and worked for lots of fashion publications. So she was a huge name in the industry and also an even bigger advocate of pre-love fashion. So her role didn't just entail sourcing the products. She also educated the nation throughout the series by talking to the press about the trends that she was seeing in the villa and the best way to shop pre-loved. She also, as you'll see in this clip in a minute, she asked, not only were we encouraging viewers to buy items on eBay, we also wanted to encourage them to sell them as well. So here she asked the Love Island viewers to post their items on eBay to sell with the hashtag #MyLoveIslandListing for a chance for them to be seen in the show. So she then chose her favorite items, and this encouraged fans to kind of sell their unwanted product and not as well as buying them. So there's a clip to play for this.
Hi guys, it's Amy here. I'm looking for pre-loved clothes to fill the Love Island wardrobe this summer, and I want you to get involved. All you have to do is upload a picture of yourself wearing a pre-loved garment, and this can be an old or a new picture, and add the hashtag #MyLoveIslandListing and list your item on eBay by the 31st of May. I'll be hand selecting a few of my favourite pieces on the 2nd of June. So get listing, and I cannot wait to see your picks.
And then, yeah, so another brilliant idea that eBay had. So from the first series when we partnered with eBay, Tasha was an absolute icon in the villa. She wore loads of eBay fashion. She had a really fresh style, and she was a big fan favorite as we all watched her fall in love with Andrew, and it was just a lovely love story. So once she left the villa, eBay teamed up with her to make her a brand ambassador. So she now curates her own eBay collections, and she wears eBay items to many big events. So she continues to promote the pre-loved fashion that she was wearing in the villa. And it's so authentic because obviously we saw how much she was loving all the different items that eBay had put in when she was in the villa. So we also use the different touch points and the ecosystem that we have as Love Island. So one of the big pieces that we have in our arsenal is the Love Island app, because that's where viewers go to vote for their favorite couple every time they want to vote. So we also make sure that on this page there is there's a section for our brand partners. So it's called Shop the Show. And so the eBay section of this is obviously all about the clothes, links out to the eBay website. And here eBay created collections on their site of products similar to those seen in the show. So this could either be by Islanders style, or it could relate to key format points, e.g. denim items from the denim party. We also looked at our, and this also kind of continued onto our social platforms. I think that's on the next slide. Yes, so we also used our social platforms, which is obviously we've got millions of followers across kind of all the different platforms, and they obviously TikTok lends itself to the younger audience, and then we do slightly different content for Instagram, but it just means that we're reaching a wide range of Love Island fans who are obviously desperate for any Love Island content. So we're always posting on there about eBay and the clothes and the parties and the touch points that they are dressing. Here was another really exciting part of the partnership, because it gave a real cyclical element to it. Not only did we buy the clothes from eBay, but we also sold some of the items on eBay that had actually been seen and worn in the show. And this was in the Love Island auction. So it just meant that fans could buy the exact items that their favorite Islanders had been wearing during the show. And it just further drove home that you can kind of fill your wardrobe with exciting pre-loved clothes, and that obviously they've been completely, they're items that the Islanders love. So they got a lot of traction, and the auction did brilliantly. This is an asset that we created with the Islanders to show off some of the exact items that we were going to add into the auction. Amazing. And so also we worked with some Stylanders as well. So these were so to reach a different part of the audience. We also worked with some real people that are influencers and that eBay work with closely. They featured in the idents, and they also just again curated their own ranges. So this was maybe for different body types and just for like general different styles, so that there was more representation within the kind of Love Island eBay collection of different styles that you could shop. But they posted on their own Instagram, so their own following got involved in the campaign, and then some of them featured in the idents. And then, so that, I think that was all on how we did it. And then there was just chatting you guys through kind of some of the challenges that we did face when we kind of set up the partnership. So basically, islanders, they are allowed to bring in one massive suitcase of clothes when they first arrive at the villa. So we really need to make sure that the items that we're sourcing from eBay, that the islanders are going to absolutely love them and choose to wear them, and are going to like choose them over their own clothes, because we would never force them to wear something that they don't feel comfortable in. So the way that we do this involves 2 styling teams. So one styling team is run by Amy, and she's the eBay styling team, and they source the clothes from eBay. And then we've got another styling team that are on the ground with us in Mallorca, and they're our Love Island styling team, and they're either in Mallorca or South Africa, and they help us constantly to curate the looks for the shared wardrobe and for any specific events. So to make sure this all runs smoothly and we really understand the islanders as best as possible, both of these sets of teams meet the islanders at our press and profile shoot, which is a few weeks before the show begins, before they fly out to whatever destination. So these, basically what we do is we create a kind of eBay shop. So it's got eBay signs, it's all items sourced from eBay. The islanders try them on. They discuss what fits, what doesn't. Would they wear neon? Would they wear leopard print? They really give us an insight into what they're after and what their style is. And that just means that eBay and Amy have some time to really think about each islander and go and search on eBay for exact items that they will fit them and that they're going to absolutely love to wear. And then the Love Island team meets them then as well to understand their style, but then they're also dropping clothes into the shared wardrobe weekly, so to give the islanders options to choose from, and also to promote rewear when they've kind of washed items and put them back in, because that's a big thing for eBay to push. And then we also get direct feedback from the islanders if they're missing something from their wardrobe, and then we ask eBay to source it so that we can have it on island ready for them to wear. I guess there's just 2 difficulties really. One would just be compared to where before, when you work with like a high street retailer, when you've got lots of sizes of the same item, this is different. It's obviously it's a one-off piece of clothing, which sometimes the islanders absolutely love and they're obsessed with the item, but it doesn't quite fit. And so that's obviously a bit annoying for them because we don't have it in another size or another color or anything like that. So we just have to kind of try and find an alternative that works. And they're not normally obviously really happy because we've got a wide selection. And obviously they just really love wearing kind of high quality fashion items and some unique designer pieces. The other thing was obviously just a bit of a preconception about pre-love fashion, that some people just think that it's of lower quality or it's going to appear worn when they buy it. But I just think that this 3 series of Love Island has done a huge job to kind of change this misconception. But we're hoping to kind of do a further job and push this further. So we hope that eBay will partner with us in the future.
Great, thank you, Lara, for taking us through the immersive world of Love Island in the eBay that you created. In the last couple of minutes, I'd love to turn to you, Susie, and talk a little bit about how you measured the impact of the show, and you sort of thought about the impact that was having on your audience, and just to touch on that work as well.
Thanks, Imogen, and thanks, Lara, for talking us through it. I think the amazing thing that comes out of this is you just don't see the word sustainability, greenness, doing the right thing anywhere. It's all using all the codes that we all know of how to sell something and sell an idea and make it sexy, literally, in the case of Love Island. And so we bore that in mind in terms of the measurement. For eBay, what they were looking at is obviously an uplift in associations of eBay with pre-love fashion. And so Google searches for eBay pre-love went up 700% as a result of the campaign. The following campaign, then they were looking at how does that compare, as Doris was talking through, in terms of listings. So not just people looking to buy, but of course, in a circular economy, you need the people selling and selling, but as well as buying. So that was another KPI. From a kind of central social purpose point of view, we also looked at attitudes. So we had a panel of Love Islanders, and we also asked a nationally representative sample of people who'd watched Love Island, how their attitudes had changed as a result. And we were able to extrapolate from that over 3 million people said they were more likely to buy pre-loved or shop sustainably as a result of seeing the show. But I think that one of the really important messages for all of us is that you can do this climate content. We were able to sort of fulfill part of ITV's climate content pledge without mentioning the environment once, and I suspect it was more powerful as a result.
Great. Thank you so much both for talking us through that, and it's fascinating to hear, I think particularly following on from the last discussion we just had on how gamifying and making that experience for your viewers as immersive as possible had such a big impact on both their attitudes to secondhand fashion, the uplift you then saw with eBay, and hopefully the change in attitudes more broadly towards secondhand fashion in the future. I'm quite conscious of time, and I know that everyone is ready for their next break, but I do want to open up to the floor in case anyone has any questions for either Susie or Lara.
Hi, my name is Eileen. I work at Netflix. Just wondering, because there's so many climate behaviors that we do want to promote, and I know that fashion is the one that's immediately in our closet, but might not be the one that has the largest carbon impact. How do you consider other climate behaviors that you want to promote on screen, either through brand partnerships or through other means?
Yeah, I'll take that one. I think one of the things that we noticed as we spent a couple of years really thinking about climate content on ITV is fishing where the fish are, or the analogy I use is of like the beetroot brownie, where the beetroot adds flavour, but it doesn't actually taste of beetroot. And so for Love Island, fashion is such an intrinsic part of Love Island, it makes sense for that to be heroed there. And although the team are very conscious of it, and I think this partnership has led to a lot of quite interesting conversations around what else could happen on screen or off screen, our experience tends to be that leading with one thing is more likely to lead to a kind of successful content result than to try and kind of cover all the bases. So in another context, it might be that food has the bigger impact and is the thing that is focused on within, for example, our cooking shows, or we've got a format coming up which is again entertainment, but very much heroing green transport. So it's an interesting issue because my bag is sustainability. I always want everybody to do everything, but we found it much easier to focus on one thing, and I think that's easier for audiences to get their head around too.
Great, thank you. I did see one other hand, but it might have gone down. Nope. Any other final questions for Susie and Lara? One from Rosie.
Yeah, I've got a question. I'm holding the mic, so I'll take the privilege. We've had some really good... Oh, first, I'm Rosie Tower from the Responsible Media Forum. We had a few years ago a really nice example from Hollyoaks, the regular soap in the UK, looking at social issues. I think this one was particularly mental health. And I was just curious about whether your experience with Love Island, this is, of course, not your first campaign in Love Island to kind of make positive behaviour change, because you got lots of press around kind of reusable bottles. I remember that one from a few years ago. But in your experience, is using the reality format as opposed to kind of storylines and drama, is that more impactful? Does it have a different engagement with the audience? Just curious about how that plays out.
Yeah, I think on behalf of just talking about from the fashion point of view, I think the reason that it really resonates with the audience is because they are being their authentic selves. So what we do with that wardrobe and giving them so many options of clothing is that we really let them pick their style and kind of represent themselves, whereas obviously on something like Hollyoaks, you're wearing a costume and an outfit that you've been told to wear. So I think that they, as a brand that they become as islanders, they really are backing it up themselves because no one's asking them to wear it. They're not being told what to wear. It's very much up to them. And if we give them something and they're like, absolutely hate it, then that goes back and comes out of the cupboard. So I think that's where it's really different from, and it's really them and them like kind of showing themselves instead of wearing a costume.
And I guess what I've learned from discussions with my colleagues in drama commissioning is that when it comes to drama, there always needs to be a tension. So some of our most successful climate content has been, for example, on Coronation Street, a character called Maria's son has asthma. She's been campaigning against air pollution. So she's got to rail against something, and some big format dramas where there's a sort of a core thing that provides enough dramatic tension for it to be interesting and for it not to feel like it's sort of crowbarred. Whereas reality is a different expression. As Lara says, it's more about modelling, more about normalising sustainable behaviours. You might not have to have, you can do it and show it without necessarily having to tell it. Whereas in a drama, that to sing through, there might need to be more tension, or it might need to be more of a major storyline.
Thank you so much. A huge thank you to both of you for joining and everyone, patience with the tech. We now have a quick break. We'll be back at 3:15 for our talk from Laura Bates, which I am personally very excited about. But for now, can everyone raise their hands for Susie and Lara? And thank you so much for such a fascinating insight into Love Island and eBay.